All right, folks, welcome back to the Crisis Report. It is December 16th, 2025. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We appreciate you being here, and we'll have more on that in a little bit. We've got a good amount to talk about. We are going to be talking about this Venezuela thing that's going on, so appreciate you being here. Not a lot of information now that I, of course, split it into two and I get the alert. Hopefully you saw the alert earlier. This happened this evening. So basically, well, I guess we'll get into it. I'll be telling you all about it. I talked about it already. I did a video on PrepperNow. I'm sure you were not notified. They're going after that channel. I don't know what the deal is, but we're getting heavy flack. So I guess we're doing something correct. I don't know. This thing tonight kind of came out of I don't say it came out of blue, but it's pretty intense. And basically what they're doing is they're stopping sanctioned oil tankers. And these things are coming from China. They're coming from Russia. They're coming from Iran. They're all over places sympathetic in the world to Venezuela. And, they're basically trying to get Maduro to step down, and it doesn't look like it's working too much. So I guess we'll just have to see. So anyway, I appreciate you being here, and we're going to get started on this. We're not going to get real long-winded. I got to get rolling. But go check out the video over on PrepperNow if you can even find it. You might not be able to. And I don't know. Your support's never been more needed. I'll just put it to you that way. I don't know what the effing deal is, but they just, in the last 48 hours, they've gone gangbusters. They're demonetizing videos and everything else. And I'm not talking like terrible videos. I'm talking Christian videos and stuff like that. I've just been doing some shorts. It's like, okay, all right, well, we're not getting the love. We'll try some shorts. That's what I want to go with. And I put a couple out, and it was like, boom, instantly. So they have since retracted it because there's nothing to demonetize. It's nothing bad. But what they basically do is they go in and they hit you with it, and they say, okay, we'll do a review. And then 12 hours later, when the video is completely run its course, and they're like, hey, nothing's wrong with it. So it is what it is. Let's get started on this whole thing. So really appreciate Bad Bobber Water Tiger. It is a very important and great time to become a member. Try and turn whatever it is this thing is turning into. I don't know. Even my daughter, it was weird. My daughter said today that they're going to do something with like brain rot videos. Like they're going to go in and try and get rid of all those too. I don't know if that's true, but she's not exactly the kind that would lie. So I don't know if she's got bad information. I'm gonna look at this reminder. I'm gonna go look at that as well. See, they're overhauling all kinds of crap in the background. So I don't know what the deal is, but it is what it is. Let's get started on your crisis report for December 16th, 2025. Here we go. EU Commission proposes to lift the 2035 ban on new combustion engine cars. New target aims for a 90% CO2 emissions cut instead of the previous 100%. Microsoft's Copilot AI is now being automatically installed on LG TVs through updates with no option to remove it because, well, that's how Gil Bates rolls. You got to get that info. Trump says he will be giving an address to the nation tomorrow at 9 p.m. I would imagine it's something to do with Venezuela. So pretty big address. So maybe he's getting ready to do strikes and then he'll be responding about them. Nick Reiner is going to be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder in the killing of his parents. Terrible story of tragedy there. Nuno Loureiro, a nuclear scientist and MIT professor, was murdered, shot and killed at his home in Boston. They're saying this might also be anti-Semitism violence. Here's a picture of his home in, I believe, Boston, Massachusetts. And it basically, he's got a sign that says, stand with Israel. And then a lot of people were speculating that this whole thing was happening because he was Jewish and sympathetic to Israel. So, and then, of course, the other conspiracy theories come out and say maybe it had something to do with Three-Eye Atlas because he was like an astrophysicist or something like that. Mark Levin calls Trump the first Jewish president to serve 2 non-consecutive presidencies. Miriam Adelson says she spoke to Alan Dershowitz in Israel about the legality of Trump serving a third 4-year term. Said, we can do that. Think about it. I'll give you another $250 million. I don't think it's unprecedented. FDR got 4 terms, but the Constitution is the interesting thing. We'll just have to see where that all goes. Trump signed more executive orders in less than a year than in his first term. I'm sure the validity of that, but it's true. Trump imposes full travel bans on Syria, Palestinians, and 6 more countries. Countries newly subjected to the full travel ban include Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, South Sudan, Syria, Palestinians, and Laos. President adds partial restrictions and entry limitations on 15 additional countries, that is Angola, Antigua, Barbuda, Benin, Cote d'Ivoire, Dominica, Gabon, the Gambia, Malawi, Mauritania, Nigeria, Senegal, Tanzania, Tonga, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Senator from Montana, Tim Sheehy, on the bipartisan meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, said to go after the brave men and women in uniform who were conducting those attacks is to indict the very system that was used bipartisanly for the last 24 years. I personally was involved in many of those operations, and the process we have is legally sound. It's been supported by legal opinions for a quarter of a century now. So, yeah. Big meetings there. Excuse me. Senator of Oklahoma, Markwayne Mullin, on the bipartisan meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and U.S. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, says, does anybody doubt that these are terrorist organizations? So what's the difference between Obama attacking these individuals when they were deemed terrorist organizations in the Middle East versus the ones that are here right now poisoning our streets? It's a good question. Leftist president of Honduras, Xiomara Castro, and Manuel Zelaya call for the chaos in Tegucigalpa in an attempt to remain in power by force, disregarding the electoral results, seeking to break the constitutional order, and claiming that their government is the victim of a coup. So the right-wing leader won in Honduras. These people tried 6 ways to Sunday to strong-arm their way into the presidency. It's not happening, and now you'll be dealing with this. So overnight, outside the National Election Council of Honduras, supporters and mobs of the Socialist Libre Party, led by Zelaya clan, started attacking civilians and causing chaos before the country's electoral authorities trying to prevent the final vote count. They didn't want it to happen because they knew what the outcome was going to be. It wasn't on their side. United States, Donald J. Trump announces a total aerial and naval blockade against Venezuela until Maduro is out. Venezuela is completely surrounded by the largest armada ever assembled in the history of South America. It will only get bigger, and the shock to them will be like nothing they have ever seen before until such time as they return to the United States of America all of the oil, land, and assets that they previously stole from us, talking about 2007. Illegitimate Maduro regime is using oil from stolen oil fields to finance themselves drug terrorism, human trafficking, murder and kidnapping, for the theft of our assets and many of other reasons, including terrorism, drug smuggling, and human trafficking, the Venezuelan regime has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. Therefore, today I am ordering a total and complete ship blockade of all sanctioned oil tankers going into and out of Venezuela. Illegal aliens and criminals that the Maduro regime has sent into the United States during the weak and inept Biden administration are being returned to Venezuela at a rapid pace. One would hope. Thank you for this attention to this matter, Donald J. Trump. Trump is basically demanding the return of the oil fields expropriated by Hugo Chavez in the 2000s. There's no way, even within the so-called moderate wings of the regime, that it could ever be accepted. Grand jury has been handed down an 18-count felony indictment against former National Security Advisor John Bolton. Lindsey Graham has introduced a bill to officially designate Russia as a state sponsor of terrorism. Only 40% of the global dark fleet that serves Venezuela is under U.S. sanctions, according to tanker trackers. So we don't want to up our game if we're going to try and put the pressure now that we got them running, as one would hope. Russia's shadow tanker Hyperion just entered the Caribbean waters, departing the UMBA offshore terminal in Murmansk towards Jose Terminal in Venezuela. Vessel is under U.S. sanctions. Brown University has released a statement addressing rumors that one of its students may be the shooter. The university clarified that the individual being doxxed has no relevance to the investigation, and that if they did, the law enforcement would be actively pursuing and investigating from and providing information to the public. Capitol has replaced Robert E. Lee statue with a statue honoring civil rights icon Barbara Rose or Rose Johns. They commemorated Robert E. Lee because he was the first one to say, guys, we lost the war, go home to your families and prepare. And of course that didn't happen. So that's why we celebrate him. He saved a lot of lives on the back end by telling people to stop fighting and go home. So, Eurostan, educated yet idiots have refined freedom into a spreadsheet in Greece. Citizens must now spend 30% of their income electronically to prove they are honest, modern, and suitably observable. Wages, pensions, businesses, everything counts up to a merciful $20 or $20,000 cap. Measure we are assured fights tax evasion. Translation: swipe enough to be fined, miss the target, and 22% penalty is imposed on your lack of digital enthusiasm. Spend too much cash and you are guilty not of hiding income, but of insufficient obedience. And a Chinification alert. Lawmakers in the United Kingdom are proposing amendments to the Children's Well-Being and Schools Bill that would require nearly all smartphones and tablets to include built-in unremovable surveillance software. And that's according to reclaimnet.org. Maduro regime responds and repudiates Trump's statements, stating that it will defend its right to free trade, navigability, free development, sovereignty, and national independence. Federal employment in the United States is now down to its lowest level since 2014, following mass layoffs by the U.S. Trump administration. So what kind of jobs do you think? I don't know. Hopefully a lot of the DEI crap. Central banks are reshaping the gold markets. Global official gold reserves rose to 40,225 tons in quarter 3, 2025, highest since at least 1950s, now exceeds the 1960s peak of 38,000 tons before the gold standard was officially abandoned in 1971. Tesla is officially back in record high territory, up to 130% from the April 2025 low. 900 billion in market cap in 7 months. Absolutely incredible. Interest expense on global government debt has risen to an annualized record of 4.9 trillion. Interest costs have risen 1.6 trillion over the last 3 years. Global debt has risen $55 trillion over the same period. Trump says tariffs have reduced the U.S. trade deficit by more than half and asks Americans to pray that the Supreme Court does not rule the tariff where the person was left. Sorry. President Trump, oh, I got that wrong. President Trump, tariffs have reduced the U.S. trade, and asks Americans to pray that the Supreme Court does not rule tariffs to be illegal. And all AI stocks are dominating the equity markets. AI-related stocks now reflect 23% of global market cap, and they're all-time high. Percentage has doubled since November 2022 with ChatGPT introduced. Stocks have been a primary driver of the global bull market. And there's a lot going on with that, from the oil to all kinds of stuff. That, my friends, is your crisis report for December 16th, 2025. We appreciate you being here. Maybe consider becoming a member, like Scrappy. Scrappy just had a good point. Scrappy said, where was that, Scrappy? So many people are asleep is what you basically said. Yeah, I agree. So we got to do our best to awaken them. We're brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. If you want to turn your gold or silver, or actually turn your IRA or 401k into gold and silver, this company is highly rated and they do good work. So other than that, there's links in the description of places you can go to find the old PrepperNow and Crisis Report. Love to have you on Substack, where a full detailing and transcript of this will be. Other than that, we appreciate you. Join us on Twitter, Mind, Gabs, X, True Social, Subscribe Star, and Locals, and more. We're just happy to have you here. God bless you all, and have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow.